Hello, and thank you to the fifth recording in our 8-part series for new leader training for MNCoE Innovations. And the element we are going to walk through next is ongoing staff development. In ongoing staff development, we're thinking about how are we creating a consistent plan to support all staff to implement the practices as intended. Your staff have attended or will attend content training. And in those content trainings, they will learn the evidence-based practices of each of the content areas. So for example, in EQUIP, staff will learn how to use a coaching interaction style with families. They'll learn how to use different reflective questions. They'll learn how to intentionally model. They'll learn how to match the support they're giving families to the family's learning style. And so thinking about how to help them use those practices as intended is the purpose of the ongoing staff development plan. We've all been to trainings where we've heard information, but we've not necessarily known how to translate it into our teaching practice or into our leadership practice. And that is the point of the ongoing staff development plan, is to make sure that everyone is supported in using the practices as intended. And that same idea would apply for a pyramid model practice of how you might use teaching problem solving with children. And so we would want some support in actually doing that. Or in the classroom engagement model, we might need support creating our zoning plan and putting that into practice. So the elements of a staff support plan that your implementation team will discuss, plan around, and monitor the implementation success is your training plan, deciding who will participate in training, when, and at what point in their new orientation. So for example, will new staff attend training the first year they're hired? Or will we onboard them to other parts of the job and send them the second year? Those are questions that your implementation team has either had conversations around or may need to. Training questions also come up in terms of roles in the program. If you are a paraprofessional, at what point will you attend training versus a licensed staff member? The answer may be the same or it may be different depending on your program size, capacity, and needs. The coaching plan will be discussed and has likely already been implemented in your program. The coaching plan is reviewed annually to ensure that we are offering folks the support they need to put these practices into action. We talk about our fidelity observation. This is the how do we know it's working. These tools are not supervisory, but rather professional development oriented and support oriented. We talk about individual professional development plans, which is our action plans developed between a coach and a coachee. We think about program-wide ongoing professional development. So for example, if we are looking at the classroom engagement model and we review our checklists together to see if there are any patterns, we might notice that embedding goals into routines for individual children is an area that many of our staff are still learning and developing proficiency with. So we may have in a January workshop a 1-hour refresher on how to use embedding goals with individual children or some examples of a matrix. And that is one of our pieces of ongoing staff development, is embedding these skills into our other professional development days. And of course, always acknowledging those successes and things that are going well. So let's go ahead and grab our implementation manuals. I'll pull up an electronic version. I'm going to grab the pyramid model manual this time. The share sites are again on your new leader agenda, the supporting document here. You can find the implementation manual on the implementation team tab. And we are down on item number 4, which is ongoing staff support plan. And so if we open up our overview, I'm going to invite you to go ahead and pause and take a look at our first page here on acknowledging staff and celebrating successes. So coming back together, you have some information now from the manual about how to put together your staff support plan and how to celebrate and support that going forward. Here are a few resources that we have at MNCoE that may be helpful to you, and you may want to talk to your implementation team to find out where are our efforts along these lines. So first is our training options. Every year, MNCoE will publish a training calendar. We offer the same content training multiple times in order to provide a variety of opportunities if you needed to have staff attend on different days in order to manage substitutes or any of those kind of conflicts that come up. Depending on how things move forward, given the uncertainty of COVID-19, right now, MNCoE trainings are offered virtually live through Zoom. In the future, there may be face-to-face trainings again, or a combination of both. And so your external coach will help you understand the format for the training. The content will be the same, regardless of the delivery method. We also have some templates if you want to keep track of who has attended which training. I know that for many of our MNCoE Innovation programs, having a record of who's attended training and who's been coached has been invaluable when we have staff turnover, leadership turnover. Perhaps I intended to go to CEM2, but then I couldn't because my child was sick that day and I needed to stay home, so I need to catch up on that training. Having that documentation in your implementation plan is highly recommended. You'll also be checking in with your implementation team about your current coaching plan. And so those of you who are new to using practice-based coaching, we have a brief overview here, and we have additional resources on our practice-based coaching share site that your external coach can help you locate. In general, what you need to know about practice-based coaching is that at MNCoE, we train on practice-based coaching annually in the fall and again in the winter. And internal coaches are the folks who should attend this training to learn how to do coaching in your program. And the implementation team then will determine what coaching looks like. When will folks be coached? Which folks will be matched with which internal coach? What is the capacity of an internal coach? In some programs, one internal coach would coach one staff member or one teaching team. In other programs, one coach has several, and you'll need to take a look at your current coaching plan, determine how well that's working, and talk to your external coach about any other options as needed. Implementation teams are also going to be communicating the annual coaching plan to all staff, so that folks are bought into the coaching process and they are understanding when and why and how folks are being coached. We also want to encourage coaches to share information about what coaching is and how the process works, so their coachees feel comfortable engaging in this part of their professional development. In determining who will be coached at what time, your team may already have a process in place in terms of offering a survey, or perhaps we're to the point where we're only coaching new staff. But if you need to have a resource available, MNCoE has a survey that you might borrow, adapt as needed in terms of giving folks opportunities to participate in the decision about when they'll be coached and what they want to work on during that professional development opportunity. Another piece of your administrative role is thinking about time for folks to engage in coaching. And at MNCoE, we support two approaches to practice-based coaching. The first being individual coaching, meaning one coach is supporting one coachee or classroom team. If it's an EQUIP program, it's going to be one coach and one early interventionist. If it's a classroom-based program, such as pyramid model or classroom engagement model, the individual coaching happens with the full classroom team. So one team is one coachee. And so we have our coaching timeline based on the need the coachee has. So it's scaffolded such that in the beginning, when folks are just getting started, they get the most support. There are 2 focused observations per month and 2 meetings per month. the coaches learn how to conduct observations and what to cover during those meetings when they attend practice-based coaching training. Once folks have demonstrated that they have these practices and they know how to use them as intended, that will come out during their fidelity observation, which might be the FIPI for EQUIP, might be the TPOT for pyramid model, or the CEM checklist for classroom engagement model. Then we move into expanding, and we offer less coaching support so that you can generalize those skills. That decreases down to 1 observation per month and 1 meeting per month. And then finally, once our coachee team has demonstrated that they have these practices as intended 2 times, so they did it once, then they generalized it and did it again with a new group of students, a new family, or a new teaching team. Now we consider folks to be at the maintaining phase and no longer in need of consistent coaching for that professional development support. Now they're going to be using those practices as intended and having that coaching as needed. A similar process happens for group coaching. The difference would be that in a group coaching setup, we have 1 coach and several coachees or several classroom teams. You can find out from your implementation team or your external coach which approach to practice-based coaching your program is currently engaged in. And you can have conversations with your external coach about any questions you have about which of those approaches might be best for your program moving forward. It's also important as an administrator to understand MNCoE's guidance for the coaching plan based on fidelity of implementation. This is a guidance document. Each program does have the ability to adapt or make changes in conjunction with their external coach. However, we do recommend that you carefully think through the practice-based coaching research and offer folks the professional development they need to make all of this effort worth it so that you are seeing the benefits for children and families as intended. This document is in your implementation team manual. It's in your support staff tab, and it describes for you for each stage of the coaching plan, what is the objective that folks are working towards? How will we know if they've met it? What's the fidelity measure of frequency? And then what is the support that is given to match that, the coaching frequency? So it's similar to what we talked about in the slide previous, which is that if you're in the beginning stage, you've just gotten started, you've attended training, you're beginning coaching, and you're working towards an 80% average score on your CEM checklist with a minimum of 60% in each key area. And each of our innovations has a document that looks exactly like this with the details of that innovation's fidelity plan. Another part of your ongoing staff support is how you might embed this work into your ongoing professional development. Perhaps on district PD days, you're going to add opportunities for teaching teams or early interventionists to showcase their work, provide examples of how they're using the strategies. Maybe you'll have some time dedicated for sharing program data or classroom data and using the Look, Think, Act process, which we'll talk about in our one of our future segments on data. And maybe you'll have mini sessions on different topics. So 3 or 4 different classroom teams are going to share how they use different strategies. Maybe one is going to share how they have built routines to the 3rd power, and another is going to share how they use peer interaction strategies, and another is going to show how they've done buddy play during outdoor time, etc. And then your staff can learn from their colleagues, learn from their peers. And that may be beneficial at the beginning of the year or sometime in the middle of the year to both celebrate the success as well as to learn from each other. We've talked already about the question of, is there opportunity to embed any of these communication pieces, quick tips, or Q&A into staff meetings? We also have programs who have created professional learning community or PLC goals around the innovation work. And there are examples for each of the innovations available on our share sites, and your external coach can help you find those if you need help with that. We also have some examples for you in terms of getting feedback from the staff and acknowledging successes. We have some samples for how you might check in with folks being coached to find out what their experience of coaching looks like. And we have some opportunities to look into staff's comfort level, understanding, and implementation of the practices for pyramid model, EQUIP, and for CEM. So thinking about the key points for you as an administrator, ongoing staff development is starting with supporting the implementation team's plan for all staff, including new staff, to attend the content training, learn the vocabulary, understand the research, understand the practices, and consider strategies. Those content trainings through MNCoE are only available through MNCoE. They are not something that staff can necessarily train each other on, because we want to ensure all staff have access to the same training content through our approved statewide trainers. Allocating appropriate release time for folks to engage in training, to engage in coaching, and to have that professional development really does lie on the shoulders of administrators. In the beginning of your work, there was some financial support to do this, and we will talk through some funding information in an upcoming segment. Administrators make sure that internal coaches have the time needed to attend practice-based coaching training, to participate in webinars as needed, and as well as planning the ongoing professional development needs. Implementation teams often devise those plans, and administrators are really critical in making sure that it's aligned to district needs, and if those opportunities aren't available, to help brainstorm other options. We're also wanting to be sure as administrators that we have opportunities for staff to provide feedback, to ask questions, and to meaningfully contribute. This, of course, leads back to staff buy-in. And then finally, we want to acknowledge and celebrate successes that we're having for staff, for children, and families. So when this work is making an impact, we want to hear about it and we want to celebrate it. So this concludes the segment on staff support, ongoing staff support. We'll leave you with these questions to reflect on, these opportunities for checking in with your implementation team and or your external coach, looking at your implementation team plan and looking for those documentation pieces around ongoing staff development, and then thinking through some questions that you might need to find answers for around your current support staff plan, such as what is the percentage of folks who've been through our content training and who's going this year? What's the coaching plan look like? How are coaches selected? How are coaches paired with coachees? What percentage of the staff have already been coached? Thinking about the plan for training and coaching new staff as they're hired, thinking about any support or professional development that's embedded into other systems or structures, considering how we're gathering input from our coaches, our coachees, and all staff so that we can be making data-based decisions. And then acknowledging staff and celebrating successes. How do we currently do that? And what ideas do we have? So you can think through how you might get more information about this in your program. And then when you're ready, you can tune into our next segment, which will be on funding. Thank you.